Welcome, Lindsay, to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. I know you have an extremely powerful story, and I've heard your name through a few people like, oh, have you heard of Lindsay? Like, did you hear her story? So I'm really looking forward to hearing it firsthand from you and really digging in. So where in the world are you tuning in from?
I'm here in Saskatoon.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And
Born and
so
raised in Robert, Saskatchewan, though.
Oh, Crawbert.
Yeah,
Okay. I know Crawbert.
that's where I'm from.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So let's begin with your story. Kind of what is the subject matter? What are we talking about today? And where can we begin?
Well, I will start back in February of this year, February
Hmm.
8th, 2024. I was diagnosed with stage 4B cervical cancer. Um, at at the biopsy, actually. She didn't even wait to get the results back. She she said in my 25 years of experience, this is cancer. She didn't stage it, obviously. Like we had to wait on um the results for that, but she told me right then and like after the exam or whatever, she pulled me into her office and told me I really appreciated that to know that day. And then I was thinking it was around February 27th where I got the staging of 4B and got the results of the scans back and stuff that it had spread to my adrenals, my stomach, my right lung, and then my left supraclavicle node up here. And
Wow.
so that was quite a shock, as you can imagine. Um, I was,
No kidding.
I didn't want to believe that. I had a
Of
really hard time
course.
even going to the cancer center. Um,
And may I ask kind of what tipped you off here? Like what brought you to the cancer center in the first place? Because I mean, how old are you?
37. I was
Okay.
36 when I was diagnosed. Um,
36.
yeah,
Very young.
so yeah. So I had actually been doctoring about this in like 2021.
Hmm.
Um, just painful cycles and that sort of thing. And so I was sent, like I've combed through my e-health records and stuff
Hmm.
since and looked back at one of the ultrasounds that I was given back then. Um, but what tipped me like, and I should have been sent for an MRI back then because there was some irregularities going on with my cervix at that time, but I wasn't. And then so what tipped me off, it was, well, I've always been used to having painful periods, right? And I just when she told me back in 2021, she said my doctor at the time just kind of told me to basically go back on the pill. And I got, I didn't like that answer. And so I just kind of thought, oh, painful periods are kind of my lot in life. And so I just dealt with it until I started having pain outside of my period, um, outside of my cycle. Like, and it was almost constant by January of 2024. And
Hmm.
so I could just no longer take it anymore. And I went to a walk-in because I didn't even have a family doctor. I still don't right now. Um, and she right away kind of listened to my symptoms and sent me for an ultrasound like the next day, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it just
Finally,
went
someone who
really quickly
listened
from
to
there.
you.
Finally, someone listened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So fast forward, you were told that you have not only cancer, but stage 4 cancer. How did that
Yeah.
feel in that moment?
Ugh. My whole world just got so turned upside down. I was completely shocked. Like I knew something wasn't right, but I did not ever think it was going to be stage 4 cancer. I thought maybe a cyst or
Mhm.
fibroid or something like that, but never did I think that this would be the case.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah, and so I met with the oncologist, well, the nurse and the oncologist. Thankfully, I had enough wherewithal to say yes to having a social worker present at my first meeting with them because they give you all this information, right? And it's just, you're in a whirlwind. And she was taking notes for me. So um, that was really supportive. And then, literally a week later, I started chemo.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
I was on three different kind of chemotherapy drugs. So I was there from like 8:30 in the morning to like 4:30. Those were long days. I was so fortunate to have one of my best friends come with me to every single appointment. I had to get special permission for that though.
Hmm.
Hmm. They don't. Um, I think maybe this has changed. I'm not sure exactly. Since COVID, maybe they haven't really wanted to open that up to a bunch of people there. But yeah, my social worker actually advocated for me to have a friend with me through those days.
Absolutely. Community is so unbelievably important for
Yeah.
any disease, any, traumatic thing. And I really think that that was one of the things for sure, and one of the many really disservices that COVID did, was pull survivors support groups. I understand that. I was in the same boat as you, alone for these experiences. And it's, they're they're the very definition of trauma, too much, too quick, too
Yes.
fast. And you
Yes.
need that person with you. And it sounds like you have an amazing best friend.
Yes. I have many amazing people in my life. But yeah, two in particular that really were by my side through the whole experience. So I really don't know where I'd be without my two Ashleys. They're both Ashley.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Good.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've gone through massive amounts of chemotherapy within a week of finding out all this stuff. Life has just been totally turned upside down. Um, what, how long was the duration of this process?
The
The
treatments.
chemo,
Yeah. So I started on March 6th and then I finished on July 4th.
the chemotherapy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Okay.
should say that I also received immunotherapy, not at my very first appointment because they had to wait until they received the biopsy like results back to see if I was a genetic match for that. But then on my second round of chemo, which was March 27th, I think, um, I started getting the immunotherapy as well. Same time. So I had immunotherapy, then the three chemo drugs, uh, all IV, all through the
Mm,
IV. Yeah.
okay.
Um, and I lost my hair um it started falling out like after, I want to say 2 weeks or something, 2 or 3 weeks after um that first round of chemotherapy. And that was really difficult for me. Really,
Mm,
that was a hard time when that started falling out. And um it was painful, actually, like physically painful. Your head, my head ached. And Um, then once I made the decision to shave it off right before my second treatment because it hurt. Felt like it was pulling. And then my other friend Ashley, she decided to shave her head with me. And so um yeah, and I decided, um her husband, actually his name is Adam, and he's bald. And um said who has more experience of shaving heads than a bald man who who does his own quite regularly. So we all got together one night at their house, and he shaved her head and then mine.
amazing.
Yeah.
It does really give the power back to you to
Hmm.
your head and have that removed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like a really wonderful and difficult evening.
It was. It was.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have the video. My friend just posted it this weekend after I received like my really good news, which we'll probably get into, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to reflect on immunotherapy because
Mm.
immunotherapy is the most amazing thing that I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard of as they're listening. It's not for every cancer, but
Right.
it is certainly revolutionizing the way that we
Mhm.
do cancer therapy. And we're hearing stories of, incurable cancers beginning to become cured or they are cured entirely.
Mhm.
Immunotherapy is fantastic, and I am so glad that you were a candidate
Yeah.
for that. And so I'm really interested, at what point did you begin to believe? Because I know, of course, I mean, I don't know this, but I assume that you started with absolute fear and terror. And then
Mhm.
at what point did you begin to believe, like, no, I'm going to be fine? I believe that I'm going to be fine.
It was shortly after I, I, I really didn't want to go to that first appointment at the cancer center in February. I was so scared of what I would hear. But it started shortly after that. Even after that appointment, when they gave me like the prognosis and stuff, I just said that's not going to be me. I just something in me was like, no, I don't accept that as my
Mm,
fate. Um, it's an inner knowing, like, and I didn't just do the conventional treatments. I've done a whole lot of other alternative methods as well. Um, and so I just got to kind of work with getting right into a lot of that stuff. Um, my one other really good friend who's been such a support through this, Sarah, she she got right away. She booked the appointment for me that day that I found out February 8th, and I got in, I think it was March 8th or something, into a naturopathic doctor right away, Toby Bridgman, and started weekly high dose vitamin C infusions and mistletoe injections and other supplements. And so I I'm still doing not weekly now, but every bi-weekly. I credit that to um, keeping my immune system up during treatments. And I just still get such a boost, from them. I just had one last week and it's just to pick me up. And yeah.
Well, you're in great company here. We talk
Mm,
about this a lot on the podcast. I love naturopathic, and I did the same thing as you.
okay. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I feel the same way as you do. I feel very much that that is like one of the core pillars of what brought me to where
Yes.
I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah, extraordinary. So you've
Mhm.
got this deep belief that, hey, no, this isn't in my schedule. I am
Mhm.
not accepting this fate. This is not who I'm going to be. And so you
Mhm.
threw everything at it, including the kitchen sink. You were like,
Yes.
no, we are
We're
doing this.
doing this and
And
diving head
and you
first.
moved forward. Yes,
Yeah.
love it. And so
Yeah.
tell us what happened next in July.
Um, what happened in July? Well, I finished chemo and then um my hair had already, like, even before I finished treatment, my hair was starting to kind of come back. And um yeah, I got I guess I got a scan back in July that showed that the spread was all gone. Every spot that it had spread to was no longer there. Um, and the original tumor in my cervix had shrunk quite a bit. Um, Dr. Bridgman, I shared that with him and he kind of did his calculation or whatever and said that it had, at that point, probably shrunk about by 50%, so that was um, quite significant. Um, and and then I just continued on with the path that I was going, just leaning even more into some of the other practices like um like honestly like daily visualizations every night, even when I was in pain, like seeing myself healed and feeling that real, like before was it it was it was in my reality, like seeing like how would I move, how would I um carry myself, like what would that really feel like to embody vibrant health, vibrant physical, emotional, mental, spiritual health. um I have quite a strong faith, um not in maybe the traditional kind of religious sense, but um yeah, and so you know it's a like manifestation, but more of like feeling it real before it actually
Mm.
happens in our physical reality. So every single, I
Powerful
still do that.
practice.
Yeah. Um, I, yeah. So I have a couple of things written down because I didn't want to um kind of miss anything, but so yeah, daily visualizations and living in the state of the wish fulfilled. Being grateful to God every morning, that I get another chance and that I'm no longer in pain because I was in such bad pain for so long. Um, like dancing and singing in my kitchen as I make my breakfast every morning. Slowing down how much I'm working and the type of clients that I take on. My mantra is that I'm in vibrant physical, emotional, and spiritual health and full of life. I am. Being mindful of my limiting beliefs. Where's the weekly high dose vitamin C, mistletoe injections, turkey tail mushroom powder. Oh, I also got connected with a man who does um like different like cannabis oil, like suppositories and stuff like that. So I did that. Um, this immunomodulating mushroom complex. Um, but I truly do believe that some of the like deeper emotional work um, that I did, like my willingness to kind of go into the darker places, and hold myself through some of that. Um, yeah, I think living my life, the way I live my life now is becoming my medicine. Also learning to say no, huge for me. Boundaries, right? I've read a lot about, and I've now not just read, but met so many people, so many women who have the same pattern of giving, 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 over giving, and not, putting everybody else's needs ahead of their own.
Hmm. Yeah, the
And
study of the C-type personality, the Cancer personality, the
yes,
givers.
yes, yeah. So
Hmm.
that was me.
Wow. That
Yeah.
is a powerful list of tips and tricks that someone maybe facing the same thing might be able to access. And it is also a powerful story of all of the different things that you accessed. And, most of them I also accessed, so good for us.
Cool.
But like, like what it is that you have a deep belief that if you that you do that emotional work, that you dive into all of these modalities that speak to you. Like that's the part that
Yes.
matters, that it speaks to you. And you do all these sorts of things that you will be healed. And I believe that one thing that, you wrote in that list, but I really want to clarify is that you
Hmm.
believed in everything you did. And I
Yeah.
think that belief is the biggest proponent of healing, is belief that
Hmm.
you will be and can be and are. I love that visualization that you did,
Yes.
that you are healed. And so,
Yes.
okay, so 50% reduction is what we're at. So what happened
Yes.
next?
Yeah, so that was July, and then I like I said, I just kind of continued on with all of those things I listed, and connecting with myself every single day. Um, you know, yeah, doing some, I don't know if you're familiar with like the jade yoni egg. So doing some work with that. Um, actually, so the day that I got diagnosed, uh, by that gynecologist was February 8th. And that was the day that this salon came that out that I had signed up for months and months ago before I obviously knew about this. It was a salon by Kim Anami is her name. And so I dove even deeper into that work, that course or salon, she calls it, started July 7th. And so I started doing that, 7th, July 11th, 1 week to the day after my chemo ended. So I dove even deeper into that sort of stuff. Um, and and yeah, just live my best life in the summer. Um, so much outdoor time, river walks, lake trips, paddle boarding on the river weekly, a couple times a week often. Um, yeah, just enjoying life and really savoring every
Mm,
day.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Choosing to live.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wholeheartedly,
Yeah,
more authentically.
yeah. And did they move you into surgery after all of that, or
No, no, that was
okay,
never discussed. Um,
okay.
in August, they mentioned since I had had such a dramatic reduction,
Mhm.
they mentioned radiation,
Right.
but that just, I sat with that, and that just did not, it was like a full body no for me
Okay.
at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, that was the right decision because um, on last week, on October 11th, I went to my oncology appointment, and um, she just kind of out of the blue, well, maybe not out of the blue, but I don't think she planned. She just asked me, could I examine you? You, you, um, look so healthy and vibrant, and um, everything has gone so well. And so she did an exam, and she said there is no evidence of cancer anymore. She cannot see any.
Wow.
And she told me that she has never seen this type of recovery happen in Saskatchewan before, going from stage 4B to none.
Wow.
And she was shocked, but I wasn't, I I believed that this was going to happen, and it did.
Mhm. Hell yeah, it did.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh my god, that is so exciting.
yeah,
Congratulations. That is
yes,
beautiful, and you have just been living fully and completely, and now to have this beautiful gift to, continue to move forward living beautifully and completely is
yeah,
just such a testament to, what adversity can teach us, and
hmm,
how we can take that experience and say, I will paddleboard, and I will live, and I will laugh, and I will be with the people that I love, and I will do all those sorts of things, because I can. And 8 months ago, 9 months ago, I didn't know if I could. Right.
yeah, yeah.
That
Life is
is
such a
just
gift.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It is such a gift. And I'm sure you're tired and worn thin and could use a little bit of a break from everything that you've gone through. But congratulations, nevertheless.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, only a week. Where are you sitting? Where are you feeling? Where are you at?
I am flying high still, and just yeah, loving life and celebrating in my own way.
Hmm.
Um, Celebrating looks different for me now than maybe it used to. Um, but yeah, like just with my friends and family over the Thanksgiving weekend, so much obviously to be grateful and thankful for. Um, yeah, it's all my relationships are better. All of them since this are deeper and more meaningful, less less surface level. Um, yeah, I've never been one for um kind of those surface level kind of conversations, but now even less. You know, I want to
Yeah.
talk about the real stuff, and now I think with most people I can even a lot of my family, so that's a beautiful gift that has come out of this
Mm.
um experience.
Yeah, certainly. And
Yeah.
now I'll ask you another question, because this is beautiful, and I agree that it's beautiful. But it's also, do you find in a place of survivorship a really unnerving feeling? Because I know I felt really unnerved when I was told I was cancer free. Do you feel that ever?
I guess it's only been a week, right? To the day today.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, I'd be lying if I said I thoughts don't cross my mind, right? Of um, what if it comes back or um, that sort of thing. And I had a client um, ask me a while ago, you know, kind of that question, like, do you worry about it returning or this was before I got this news, but it was after my um, I was doing really well, and do you worry about it progressing? I can't remember the question that she asked, but uh, I said, yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't have any thoughts of that, right? But um, the way I'm living my life now is so different. Like, I don't know how disease can live in this temple that I am creating for myself, you know? Um, and that's what I keep coming back to when those kind of fearful thoughts come up. I don't try to make them go away, because I've done a lot of um, like somatic work with my own therapist and internal family systems parts work. And so I don't try to get rid of those parts of myself that have those anxieties and those fears come up. I trying to turn toward them, and with compassion and and try to understand, why they feel that way. And instead of trying to just um, temper that down or avoid those
Mhm.
feelings, right? And
Okay.
so that's kind of how I approach that.
I love that.
Mhm.
Um, Healing is so much of like um, so I wrote this down earlier today, a yes and, a both and is, like there's this elation and happiness, and there's feelings of unnerving. Both and,
Mhm.
you
Right.
know, both
So
can
true.
exist.
Yes.
And but one thing that I love is how you said that I don't think disease could live in the temple that I've built. And I
Yeah.
think that that is a beautiful mantra to keep coming back to. Because, again, with this belief, this conversation that we're having about belief, and how belief in it really affects the body so deeply. You know, your conviction is palpable. I don't see how a disease could live in this temple that I've built.
Yeah. It just
That's
doesn't
so
seem
cool.
possible, right? Like, yeah, everything is different about me. Um,
Mm,
from, and not just it started before this, diagnosis, even like, um, leaving, leaving a job that, I had grown out of
mm,
in 2021, and then, um, leaving like a 12.5 year relationship in 2023. And so,
wow.
um, you know, I am a completely different woman. I'm a completely different person now than I was. I was so fearful of both of those things, of change, right? Of the
Mhm,
unknown. Um, and yeah, I think though both of those things help kind of create the perfect environment for the cancer to grow in,
mm,
right? When you're doing work that you're not passionate about, and when you're feel trapped and stuck in a relationship that you've outgrown, and I knew a long time before I left that it wasn't right, but I was so scared.
mhm.
And now that I've been through this, I feel like I can do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you sure
After
can.
this year. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no question. A gal who was riddled with stage 4 cancer that is now having a conversation with me, healthy and glowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's extraordinary. I just love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, if someone was recently diagnosed and they were facing down the barrel of something like this, what might you tell them or you in that situation? What type of advice might you give when it feels like there's no hope?
Hmm. Like, believe in your body's ability to heal. It wants to heal. It does. Believe that that's possible. Um, in whatever way that resonates most with you. Some of the things that I might have said here today might not resonate with you, and that's totally okay.
Mm,
Find what does. Find what, um, lights that fire, that, spark, within you, and um, yeah, and let that lead you. And, um, healing is possible. We just need to believe that it is, and, um, live your life, in a way that, um, brings joy. So one thing that I, found, or like, it was a reel, I think, early on when I first got diagnosed, somewhere, and it said, in some cultures they ask a person when they get a disease, like, when did you stop dancing? And, you know, I remember the exact moment I read that in my kitchen, and I'm like, yeah, I did. For years, I stopped doing things that I loved. And so I just made it my mission to do anything that I brought me joy, that from taking my first dance class, dance therapy class, to, um, singing, starting to play my piano again. Um, yeah, yoga and weightlifting. I've gotten back into weightlift strength training, and, um, yeah, just follow what lights you up.
Beautiful. Beautiful advice. I really think that that is going to be really, really helpful for someone listening. So thank you for sharing that. Is
Mhm.
there anything remaining that you'd like to share in this episode?
Mm, just, yeah, don't lose hope.
Nice.
Um, Anything is possible. We're only limited by our beliefs, right? And our minds, I guess, and our thoughts do create our reality. I truly believe that. So
Love it.
examine, your thoughts and how you speak to yourself is very important. Be
Mhm.
kind to yourself. How would you speak to a friend?
Mm, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for all of your wisdom today and sharing your story so openly and vulnerably. It has been an absolute honor to be one of the first to really hear it, and I can't
Yeah.
wait to share it with everybody, and so that we can all cheer you on and be excited for you in this really exciting time.
Thank you, Christine.
It's been a
That was
pleasure.
great.